Jolan Troon, welcome to another exciting day in our galaxy. And because of everything that happened since last week, I really want to make one video where I talk about the quality over quantity promise Scopely made at the turn of the year. And I mean, why everybody is talking about this, you just see on the screen. That's the Alliance tournaments. That's the shop. I get a message every time I open the game about the first place rewards. So it looks every time I open the game as if I got the first place rewards. We didn't because of all the bugs. I scored quite poorly because if you look at my personal scoring, I did tasks that I definitely could do, but I only finished 6 of the 9 because of all the bugs in the game. Because it didn't count that I did them and stuff like that. So you all know what I'm talking about. But I picked this as a very good example because if you look now, I'm clicking the buttons within the Alliance tournament. And do you see anything? This is just a shining example of what's going on at the moment. And it's not just the Alliance tournament. You know that they promised at the turn of the year to take more care of quality over quantity. And we all saw what happened in the end. And that is not a surprise. I just made a small list. I might even have forgotten something. That what have they introduced into the game since they made this promise? They even haven't fixed tons of old issues in that game. Then they made the promise of quality over quantity. And then they introduced some things, and my list is long, and we're just talking about a good 7 months here. August is not over yet, so there definitely is more to come here. Since the promise quality over quantity, they introduced the Enterprise NX-01, they introduced the Xindi. And there's not always bugs we're talking about. With the Enterprise NX-01, I called it a bug in one of my videos, but in the end it was just promising something that's not true, because the Enterprise NX-01 is supposed to block 9 shots from every weapon. And still they introduced a weapon that immediately kills your Enterprise 1. You know this aquatic problem, I don't have to go into detail, but that's just the first issue of the year. Then we have the Xindi. We have to grind Xindi additional to all the other hostiles with new rewards, with new armadas. You know, here in some Hylan and Gunnar and the other systems going higher, there are the Xindi armadas as well, which are quite hard. Really something for higher level players, unless you have very strong players in your alliance that help you do that. It's really nice of some guys from my alliance, so thanks guys for that again, even if I don't have the occasion to do that as often as I would like to, because the Xindi Armada exchanges get more expensive while you're going through the ops levels. But we have some nice guys in my alliance that are stronger, so that I can go to a big system, start a Xindi Armada with my Enterprise NX-01, which is the one with a lot of warp range. And because of the starter chest I get a lot of stuff, not because my ship is strong. My ship is totally weak then compared to the others. But I get the starter chest, and that's worth doing it. But it's just another thing. Then they introduced the silent enemies. So as if the Xindis weren't enough with the new armadas, with 2 different kinds of Xindis, plus the wanted Xindi, they introduced the silent enemies again. Then they introduced the war room. That's where it really started to get loads of PvP into here. You know, the war room is not on at the moment, but they introduced that as well. And we're just talking about the months we had this year. At the turn of the year, they made a promise about quality over quantity, and then all of this came in. Then They brought in the Kirshara, for example, which is still not working properly today, even if they announced that they fixed a lot, but they never mentioned that thing again, and it's not properly working yet to this date. I still have deactivated it. They had to bring in a deactivation button so people could play again. And I activated in between to test that thing again. It's still not working properly, and I deactivated it again. Then we just jumped to one of those systems. They introduced the Gorn. Just another thing to grind, another new resources. We got a number of new refineries, which I didn't even extra put on my list because they're connected to those things. But then they introduced another new ship with new abilities. That's a Gorn Eviscerator and everything. Then they introduced another mechanic into the game, the Apex Barrier. You know, Nesmith, the newest officer in the game, is bringing some Apex Barrier as well. But a lot of other new officers did. I don't know where Nesmith is now. I just unlocked him in last week with a battle pass. Here we have the Apex Barrier. That's a completely new mechanic. The old mechanics are not working properly, and they just bring in another one. Then they brought in the whole mirror universe. While there are a myriad of bugs still in the game, they bring in a completely new universe, once again with new resources, new refineries, new mechanics. The jumping through mirror universe is annoying as hell. As I always say when we're talking about this, I would prefer them click one system, pay the price for all the jumps there, and send the ship there instead of going from one of those entry rifts to another. They changed something about the entry rifts that you don't have to click them twice again. That change is not working properly. Every second day I have to do it manually again, and it's also not working. Then they brought in the Mirror Universe wave defenses as well. Wave defenses was quite challenging enough for people always to take part with a wave battle pass and everything. And now we also have Mirror Universe wave defenses with a different set of rewards, so you have to do twice the things. And it's not only about the quality over quantity stuff I want to talk about because of all the things that are not working. But how are people supposed to do that if they are not unemployed or pensioners? If you have a job, you cannot do all that stuff, and everybody knows that. Or you, at least if you have a life. Then, of course, they introduced the new Omega resources now in the Mirror Universe, and they introduced a completely new part of the Mirror Universe because of that. They introduced the NSEA Protector, a ship with new abilities that you need to get the new resources and everything. And of course, it included Ceres Invasion. Ceres Invasion, that I haven't even saved those systems yet because it was just annoying. It's really funny. They're not showing anything while it's not active, but here there are the systems. The invasion brought in another new set of systems, another 2 different kinds of hostiles that you have to take care of for the event, and everything else. And a lot of this wasn't working when they started it. What I found out in the end was quite funny. I said they named the wrong systems. They really did. Not in English. And that's what the support is always talking about. No, it's all fine. The systems are correct, and they are supposed to show up in other systems as well, but they are in these systems. Yeah, but in the German translation, and I'm playing this game in English and in German because I make videos in those 2 languages, so I have to switch the languages, as you've seen a lot of times in the videos. There were, in the German version, they named completely different planets. And in none of them, none of the new ones that were different from the English description were any of those enemies. Plus the chimeras, and plus they are rushing through the things as well, that they don't bring proper information. The information on the new Alliance tournament we come to in a second was very little. Let's not talk about the Dane event that went over a few days, where the information was nil. And the other thing was, they're bringing completely new, complex new stuff like the Alliance tournament, and there's only an explanation in English. The game is available in I don't know how many languages, but the only information that's coming out is in one language. Either they have this game in a lot of languages so that people that don't speak English can play the game, but then they have to provide all the information in their languages again. I talked very often about the translations in German, how crap they are, but there's often no information at all in those other languages. And I know a lot of people that are playing this game that are speaking their own language, but who do not speak English. English is one of the languages most spoken on this planet, but not by everyone. And especially people in some, how do I say this, some higher years did not learn English in school in other countries. That's something that happened much, much later that everybody started learning it. And believe me, I know a lot of young people who do not properly speak English or understand English for that matter. And so they are rushing everything through. And of course, I often said this, it's a business, they have to make money. But there are limits. If you annoy your customers, and that's the same if it's a store or an online game. If you annoy your customers, you will lose customers. And in the end, you will make less money than if you provided quality work that wouldn't bring you the same gross amount of money, but you would earn money for a longer time because people would stay. And if you're rushing through stuff with half-made stuff, as we see it right now, and there we are at the Alliance tournament where nothing worked, then you will definitely lose customers. And I know a lot of disillusioned people at the moment. I don't want to talk again about the number of messages I got on starting day of Alliance tournament that I went to my studio at night to make another video about this, to explain to the people how things are working, because they are completely annoyed en masses. And I had to do that in 2 languages once again, of course. Especially, I was explaining the whole evening to people speaking German but not English what's going on, because there was no information in German about this out there. So they are rushing things through. Even when they see nothing is working, they don't stop it. What I would have done if I published something and it's not working at all. There was nothing right about this Alliance tournament. It still isn't. And they just let it run through. And they didn't do anything about this except one ridiculous comp chest, and that's it. And for all the bugs that came after the comp chest and that you had to deal with, you got nothing. So there was a prepayment, obviously, already for your troubles as well. But every reasonable company would have just stopped that, repaired everything, looked completely into it again, and then would have said, okay, we try again next month. Until we beta tested everything. But beta testing seems to be something that's never happening in this game. Because of all the bugs we've seen in time, and I'm playing this for years now. And whenever they brought something new in, there were issues. And beta testing seems to be some unknown word for the programmers there. But there's something about the programmers. People regularly ask in my comments. I really wonder what job those programmers from Scopely really do. Obviously not programming. And testing is one thing that seems to be out of the question because it takes so long. So, still, I love this game. Otherwise, I would never have started to make the videos, and otherwise I wouldn't play this game for years. But to be honest, they need to take a step back and look at what's going on in their game. Because at the moment, I'm really myself not really in the mood to do anything but the daily stuff I have to do to keep my account running. But I really even gave up on that tournament at some point, and didn't even bother what place we made as an alliance, because it was not objective anyway, because some people on the one hand spend a lot of money to get through, and as a miracle for them the task worked then, and for so many people the task didn't work properly, and so there is no proper result for the alliances there, so I didn't care where we end up. I just did what I had to do, and that's it, and then just forget that nonsense. But they really need to do something otherwise, and I saw the first ones again after a lot of things that happened this year already. That was kind of, in German we would say, was the last drop that made the barrel overflow, and they quit. Or they just turned off their account for the time being and said, I need to take a break from this game. Unfortunately, Scopely is not talking to me. That is with some others that are obviously often working for them, or at least getting something from Scopely. So that's why I always say I can talk my mind. Even the support is ridiculous. I had to report tons of stuff the last days, not all tournament related, and that's the fun part, because they broke other things as well with this tournament. In the refineries there suddenly was stuff broken and so on, and they just sent me their standard tournament answer. They ignored everything else I reported. All the other issues I reported that were out there, and they just sent me their tournament standard answer, their copy and paste answer. I know it's probably this is just a matter of experience and not implying anything on any nationality, but usually it's an Indian call center somewhere dealing with that. When I was young, I worked for a call center dealing with Microsoft's Xbox and to make some money during my studies, so I know how this works. And it's obvious if you read a lot of answers, first of all, that they don't speak the language they're writing, and if I talk to them in German, I see that there's a translation program involved. So even on if my game is set in German, I write to the support in English. But on the other hand, you know that they don't even know what I'm talking about. As long as it's not in their script that they get, they have no idea what I'm talking about. And that's the issue with outsourced support. They have no clue what's going on. They just get their scripts and they get their information, and that's it. And that's what you experience when you talk to the support. So that's not what I think. And I'm quite sure that the names they tell me with Jeff and everything, it's not their real names anyway, just to make it sound more American. Nevertheless, I know that video was quite a rant, but first of all, I wanted to bring back to mind the whole list of things that they introduced since quality over quantity to once again show what quantity we really got this year, and on the other hand, to tell you I will continue playing for the time being. But even I'm a bit disillusioned about the game at the moment, and it's hard to stick to it, to be honest, outside your dailies. So at the moment I really took a step back, and I'm doing my dailies, and will, of course, for the videos, there's new stuff coming in, so I have to look at it, all of it and everything. That's of course. But in case of playing myself, I really do the stuff I urgently need to do to keep my progress going. But that's it. there's a lot of special things that I just leave out and don't do. And I will just wait and see how Scopely will deal with the tournament stuff now. If they just press activate again in a matter of weeks, I will really don't understand things anymore. But nevertheless, rant over. We will see us definitely tomorrow in my next video. And I hope that you stick to the game. I know a lot of people that told me that they are stopping now and taking a break or leaving for good. I hope you will stay. I hope we can see some change, and hope dies last. And there was one British Prime Minister that that said something that's kind of a good motto. Hope the best, expect the worst, and take what Scopely gives you. And if you want to see another video right now, the next one is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.